Hello. I hadn't planned to make this video for a while, but given some recent things, I figured now was a great time to start a discussion. Parasocial relationships, i.e. the relationship that commonly happens between streamer and audience. Sometimes relationships between streamers and audiences can be positive. You have regular people that show up every single stream. They're encouraging, they're nice, they're supportive. Sometimes they play the game with you, which is really cool. Sometimes they donate, sometimes they send bits. Sometimes they don't spend any money at all, but the experience feels like it's worth more than any money that could ever be spent. These people help you keep going, and they're great, but sometimes they're not. What I'm talking about here specifically is people who have spent a significant time on your channel or with you, even though it's not really with you in the room, in the way that, say, a furry con or a furry meetup or a meetup of any kind or a convention of any sort or a concert or a bar. There obviously haven't been a lot of those opportunities with the Pantene Pro V going on, but essentially with that kind of relationship, I'm sure we've all had at least one experience. We went to a public place and, someone seemed really friendly and normal, and then it got a little weird. That's not exclusive to that situation. What I'm talking about is people who have watched you, interacted with you, or had any contact with you online, and it goes from friendly, lighthearted, and easy to deal with to downright creepy, stalking, seeking information about you. Things that aren't great. And I'm not alone in this experience, I'm sure. There are plenty of people online, some of the biggest creators you can probably name, not just in our niche, but outside of our niche, who have dealt with similar issues. Parasocial relationships can be extremely toxic and abusive. Let's talk about that. So when looking at parasocial relationships and how they pertain to streamers, some of you might be familiar with some of the things I've done in the past. Dumping a lot of gift subs on someone who might be trying to hit a goal, or donating a lot to hit a goal that, the person is very far away from, and maybe you at the time have the means to do so. Where most people who have rational brains would know that doing these things does not give you a all-access pass into their personal lives, it would seem that some don't. It would also seem that some don't realize that just because you put yourself on the internet doesn't really guarantee them a way to meet you, see you, talk to you, get your personal information, or learn about your life. What I perform on this site is a character. When I'm not wearing the suit head, I'm me. And for many reasons, I like to keep me private. And I'm not alone in that either. There are plenty of other creators out there who have chosen to separate what is considered their professional YouTuber creator streaming life from their personal. And there's a very big reason for that, which we're going to get into. One of the biggest reasons is that not everybody who shows up to your content, whether it be streaming or scripted, are going to behave. And not everyone who shows up is going to have the best intentions at heart. And what stinks, really stinks, is sometimes that people that show up to either your streams or your content will take things that you do very seriously that you may think are completely innocuous. Say you decide to change up your content from very child-facing to more adult-facing. Some people will not particularly love that. Some people will be as minimal to letting you know in your comment section, and some people will be as maximal as going to your email and sending you multiple emails telling you why you're a shitty person. I've said in past videos, I don't particularly care whether you love me, hate me, are indifferent, but where I draw the line is if you go to the point of trying to be hurtful about it. Now, I've spoken to other people who create on this platform, whether they be furries or not, and this is not unique to our community. This is widespread. This is bad. It has to stop. I realize me telling you that this has to stop may not discourage you from your shitty behavior. After all, I'm not your mother, and given some of the interactions I've had with people, God knows I wouldn't want to be your mother because you sound like an absolutely horrific child to take care of. But when you're speaking to a creator, you have to realize that what you are being shown on screen is sometimes either performative, it might be done in a certain way to help their business or help themselves attain either more viewers, donations, whatever it is they need. And that sometimes a change made is not a direct fuck you to you as a viewer. It is made strategically because they know that they need to make that change to make things work. And what kills me is when people do not understand that. Let's take a notable example. There is a YouTuber that I am colleagues and friends with that changed their persona from a very recognizable fox to more of a werewolf character. I have seen plenty of discussion of people not happy about that, being like, oh, well, I fell in love with this character, why are you this now? Not realizing that maybe the change was for their personal benefit, or for their well-being, or maybe they couldn't connect with that character anymore, or maybe, just maybe, they decided they want to try something new. Parasocial relationships are like that. It often feels like you get an all-access pass to people's lives because you see them every day. Not in person, but online. Either they stream every day, they make content weekly, you see them very regularly, so you start to view them as a friend. You start to think that they might be your best friend. You start to think that because they're your best friend, you're entitled to tell them what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And that is not the case at all. And what often happens is when they don't do the thing you want, you get angry, you get upset, you get very mad, whether they choose to get into a relationship with someone that you don't like because they're not you, or they decide to do something for their own mental well-being that you don't like because that's not how you see them, or whether their character is gendered a certain way, and it's not the same as the comfort character you came to know because you decided to take their character without their consent and make it your comfort character, and now are in their DMs telling them that they think actually that character should be male, and fuck them for making it a non-binary character. Yep, hi, Flitwick is genderless. And to the person that told me that it was their comfort character and that they should be male, that's not your character. Suck a big one. Other things that might happen is, you feel like because they have wronged you, you have a right to know who they are and what they do and what they look like under the mask. No you don't. That is invasive. That is bordering on stalker behavior. If that's how you conduct yourself, you, A, probably need therapy, and B, really need to evaluate how you're digesting media online, because some of us have real lives that are not furry 24/7, and when we do not want furry in our lives, we do not want your happy ass showing up in our personal lives to reel us back into the furry community when we don't fucking want to be there. There are days when I do not want to be in the community. I will turn my phone off, I will watch TV, I will have a lovely day free of furry. It's normal. I'm sure other people have done this. There are days when I'm not really feeling up to being in character or dealing with this, that, or the other thing. Maybe I'm streaming and I just want to have a good day. You coming in to be like, well, actually you need to do this is like cool, I guess. You aren't paying my bills most of the time. It usually comes to people who have never donated, never sent bits, never supported my Patreon, never gone to my other platforms that generate revenue, and they feel entitled because they've watched however many hours of my videos, and okay, sure, I guess, but you are not entitled to that. Similarly, along that vein, no one on the internet is entitled to speak to you. Creators, I want you to listen to this. Whether you're furry or not, no one on the internet is entitled to speak to you for any reason. If you are having a bad mental health day, if you don't know them and do not feel comfortable speaking to them, if they have an account that looks suspicious because either they have 0 followers and have never tweeted a day in their lives, or whether the only things that they tweet make you physically and otherwise very uncomfortable because they do not align with your views, or whether it is very clearly a troll account and you do not want to associate, you do not have to interact with them. You don't. You really don't. You do not owe them any of your time or energy. If the only thing they have sent you for 6 months straight is hi and nothing else of value, and their account retweets highly suspicious shit, or is following accounts that you don't feel comfortable with, or it's a minor and you do not feel comfortable interacting with them because you are above the age of 18 and are a little squeamish around the younger crowd, that is okay. You do not have to interact with them. And that is the biggest thing I want to impress on the community. No creator, whether they be Twitch, YouTube, a musician, just popular because their suit is cute, no one is required to reply to you. And going on tangents about how they wouldn't talk to you because you didn't have 5,000 followers is fucking stupid. No one is required by any law that I know of to speak to you, to give you the time of day. No one. I often get very overwhelmed when shitloads of DMs come my way or a butt ton of emails come my way, and it's just hi, 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 hi. I just won't respond. Like, that shit makes me so uncomfortable. And it ratchets my anxiety up to 100. I do not want to fucking deal with that. So I don't. And I am allowed to not deal with it. That is within my right as a human. Even without this head on, I do not have to respond to you. I also do not have to humor stupid bullshit emails that come in from random accounts that have something to say about how I do my editing or whatever. I am not required by law to deal with that. If you decide that something that I did in a video was not to a specification that you liked, you are welcome to air that grievance in the comments. Whether I decide to respond to or not is up to me, not you. If I don't get to it that week, I'm not required by YouTube law to get to it that week, or ever for that matter. If you have a personal grievance with if I brushed my suit well enough this week or not, that is your problem, not mine. You can deal with that of your own accord. I am not required by YouTube law to brush my suit differently. That is, quite frankly, your issue. Similarly, if you are offended by the fact that I am no longer single, that is a you problem, not a me problem. I am happy and living my best life, and if that offends you, might I suggest following literally anyone else in the community? Might I also remind you that no one in the community is required by law to magically fall in love with you and become your forever spouse, simply because they are gendered female or male. Because I tend to find it happens with people who are on the binary. If someone in the non-binary or gender fluid community could give me their story, if this has happened to you, go for it. But no one in the community is required to like you because your sexual orientations match up at all, whatsoever. And sometimes these parasocial relationships also think they are entitled to comment on your appearance. And in a previous video, I mentioned how I just really don't enjoy being called cute at all. It is extremely uncomfortable because it was done to me when I was younger, and it was done in a very condescending way. Being called cutie, sweetie, honey, oh my god, sweetheart, oh my god, hun. It was done by older men at bars. It is still very uncomfortable. Even if you're not someone in that situation, it is very uncomfortable for me, and I would appreciate if you didn't do it. If you would like to do it and get yourself banned in 3 seconds, by all means go nuts, but it is not something I enjoy or I appreciate. When streamers tell you that there are things that they don't enjoy or appreciate and would prefer you not do, and you want to be their bestest friend ever, or you want to get to know them more, or you want to be more in tune with their private lives, hey, abusing that thing, not the ticket. Many people ask me well, how do I become friends with X big YouTuber? And honestly, the biggest one is respect, respecting boundaries, respecting requests, respecting limits, understanding that there is a limit, understanding that not everything is about you. And sometimes there might just be a human underneath the head that you're looking at, and they might be navigating life in a different way than you are. These parasocial relationships can be very dark. They can get really bad. I know multiple people who are colleagues of mine who have had to send cease and desists, who have had to call up lawyers, who have had to press charges, often silently behind the scenes, because as soon as you tweet it out in a big cancel document, it only gets worse. The minute you give it any kind of public attention, it gets so much worse. So I guess what I'm asking is, understand that parasocial relationships are a thing. Reevaluate how you are interacting with your faves. Think about it. Put yourself in their seat for a hot second. If what you are doing is extremely uncomfortable to you when the roles are reversed, or if you don't see any problem and maybe some of your friends have told you that it's a problem, start reevaluating. It might be time to accept that you might have a problem and you might need to fix things. And if you reverse the roles and the most you've done has been good morning, hi, how are you? Congratulations. You understand basic etiquette, and I'm proud of you. Bye. I've also been told by some viewers that I'm really, really bad at promoting my own merch. Really bad. So reminder that we currently have plushies in pre-order if you would like to support that. If that's a thing you want, I guess go for it. Additionally, all my other really cool merch is currently available through Ryu Daiga. That includes dokis, mini dokis, keychains. You don't have to buy anything. If it's a thing that you find interesting and cool, awesome. If it's not for you, that's fine too. I don't really care. Also, we do have a Patreon on here. It helps pay off editors when we use outside editors. Lately, we haven't been doing it as much, so it goes into improving some of my equipment. My last Patreon went to adding a little more memory onto my PC so I can do these videos a little more effectively. But if you'd like to be a Patreon, you can join the lovely group of folks you're going to see at the end of at the end of this video.